Okay, everybody. Again, I'm going to mute everybody. Fine with that. Chalo. So everybody can see the screen. So we are starting with chapter 1, real numbers. We will fast do a jhatpat recap on what all we have done so that it's easier for us to move ahead. Now, what is the statement of EDL? That is Euclidean division. What is it? Euclid's division?
Lemma.
Lemma. Perfect. Now, these all small things can be asked. Understood? So what is the statement telling you? That if the A and B are two positive numbers, then there will be Q and R such that A is BQ plus R. This is nothing but the same as dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus the remainder. So that's what is given here. Given positive integers A and B, there exists unique integers Q and R, quotient and the remainder satisfying A is equal to BQ plus R. Always remember this, that R is greater than equal to 0 and less than B. If you choose the wrong options, remember you will be marked as wrong. Understood? All of you? So here goes, if you just put R is greater than 0, less than B, it will not work. Options are set like that. So be very clear. Now, when we find HCF of two positive integers, C and D, where C is greater than D, then if we use Euclid's division algorithm, then what do? Actually, we carry out few steps. In that, we carry out till R is greater than equal to 0 and less than 0. If it is not so, till R is equal to 0, we keep on moving ahead with the same step. Keep on dividing so that you get a C which is equal to DQ plus R. So continue the process till the remainder is 0. The divisor at this stage, all these things are very important. Please keep, my highlighter is not working today. I should have marked them. Okay, the divisor at this stage will be the required HCF. Please mark all these things in your textbook very properly. Now we are moving ahead to working. Are we ready? Chalo, do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Now use Euclid's division algorithm to find the HCF of number 1 and number 2. Now Euclid's division algorithm I'm telling because we are in the chapter itself. But in the MCQ, you need not, you use your method. But when this comes to normal tests, essay 1 or any other tests, you have to show me the steps. Even if it is a 1 marker, you need to show me the steps. So now go ahead, give me the answers of the first one.
45.
Which
45.
one? First one?
First one.
Okay, others, come on. It is a half a minute sum. If you have done the first part, the answer is 45. Question 1, the answer is 45. Others, do it. Done, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Answer was 45 you got?
Yeah.
Here I have shown the working using Euclid's division lemma because the chapter wants us to do so. But for you, exactly for the MCQ, it is up to you. Do the second question. Second part, 196, 38. How much?
195.
Is it 195? Check.
196, ma'am.
Yes.
196.
Yes. No. That who gave me the answer is 195? I'm not getting your name. Gautam. Yes, Gautam. Gautam, you did a bit mistake here. Yeah. Okay. It is 196. This is the divisor. You gave me the value of the quotient. So be careful there. Done, others? Whatever way you want to do it in. Yes. 196 is the answer. Moving ahead. Find the largest number which divides 615 and 963. I hope everybody is writing down the questions also. If you're not, see that at least you click pictures or keep the questions. It has to be there. Writing questions is actually what I want. Find the largest number which divides 615 and 963, leaving remainder 6 in each case. Try to work it out. This might take you hardly 2 minutes. Done, anybody? Children, you know how to do it?
Mom, 87.
87 is the answer. Perfectly done. What has been done? It's a leaving remainder 6. So the first step would be subtracting 6 from both the digits given, and since it's the largest number, so finding the HCF of those. Please see that you work it out completely. Don't leave it undone. This part, by applying Euclid's division lemma, it's up to you. Now it's up to you, not afterwards. Done, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I go to the next slide? Dear?
Ma'am, this is Prerna here.
Yes, Prerna.
Ma'am, can we do this sum in another way? Like, instead of subtracting 6 in the starting, can we continue the division lemma until we get the remainder as 6?
Get the remainder as 6. Then try it out. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, it will not. But still, for your own satisfaction, try it out.
Okay, ma'am.
It will not. Yes. A merchant has 120 liters of oil of one kind, 180 liters of another, and 240 of third kind. The question should be written very smart and shortly. He wants to sell the oil by filling the 3 kinds of oil in tins of equal capacity. What should be the greatest capacity of such a tin? Again, greatest capacity, so you know what is asked for. Ananya? Ananya?
Mom.
What's your mom's name? I think your mom is in that group so that I can get the number. Huh?
Yeah, ma'am. She just sent me your number.
Ma'am, the answer is 60.
I will.
Perfect, Ananya. Then send it across. Click a picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine.
Ma'am, the answer is 60.
60 liters.
60 liters. It is 60? Yes, it is 60. Here it's a bit wrong. It is 60. Others wind it up faster. Over. Shall I proceed to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Chalo. 144 cartons of Coke cans and 90 cartons of Pepsi cans are to be stacked in a canteen. If each stack is of the same height and is to contain cartons of same drink, what would be the greatest number of cartons each stack would have?
Ma'am, is it 18?
Ma'am, is it 18? Yeah.
18.
It is 18. It is 18. So how much time? Can you see it is half a minute? So be careful, that's it. Just check the timing and move fast when you're solving the MCQs. Everybody has got 18 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It should be
Yes,
your way
ma'am.
of working out. Moving ahead. Read the sum properly. It is similar to the previous one, with a bit of difference. Find the greatest number which divides 285 and 1249, leaving remainders 9 and 7 respectively in each case. So Prerna, you had asked me that question, right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so if you find the HCF and then subtract, what all will you subtract? 9 and 7 together is impossible, right? So
Yes,
that method doesn't work. You have to subtract it initially and then find the value of that. HCF of
Okay, ma'am.
those two numbers. Give me the answer.
Ma'am, is it
Ma'am, 138.
138?
Yes, it is 138. Everybody see to it that you can do it properly. Gone wrong, slash it off, redo. So basically the numbers required is 285 minus 9, that is 276, 1249 minus 7, that is 1242. So you're finding HCF of 250, 276 and 1242. Moving to the next slide. All those who have not completed the question number 5, do it and then move. That's why I am asking you to take down the questions also. 2 brands of chocolates are available in packs of 24 and 15 respectively. If I need to buy an equal number of chocolate of both kinds, what is the least number of boxes of each kind I would need to buy? Read the question 2 times, 3 times. 2 brands of chocolates are available in packs of 24 and 15 chocolates each respectively. If I need to buy an equal number of chocolates of both kinds, what is the least number? Here is a different word. Least number of boxes of each kind I would need to buy. Faster. Least number means LCM. But then it's asking you least number of boxes of each kind.
Ma'am, 3.
120.
What 120? What is 120?
The least number of boxes.
No. Least
Ma'am,
number
it is
of
360.
least
Ma'am,
number
it is
of
360.
oh, children,
360.
read the sum. Least number of boxes of each kind. What is LCM of 24 and 15?
120.
LCM is 120, children.
Yes.
So how will you find for each box?
LCM is 120.
So then, but they're asking you each box, how many boxes?
120 divided by 24.
120 divided by 24, 120 divided by 15. So your answers are 5 and 8 boxes.
5 of the 24 chocolates.
Yes. 5 of 24 chocolates and 8 boxes of 15 chocolates. Yes. This is the answer. 5 and 8 is the answer. 120 is not the answer. Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Still working?
ma'am.
Sunidhi, done? Sunidhi,
Yes, ma'am, done.
you dropped off in between, na? Again came
Yeah.
back. Apurva also joined late, quite late.
No,
Okay.
ma'am, dropped off.
You dropped off, beta. Okay, sorry. The fundamental theorem of arithmetic, now moving ahead to that, says that every composite number can be expressed in the form of expressed means factorized as a product of primes. These all words are very important when you read the theorems. Keep these in mind as a product of primes. And this factorization is unique. I don't have the highlight. It's not working. Otherwise, I would have marked with the highlighter. As a product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. Fine. So basically, we'll try to express them or factorize them as a product of primes. That is what fundamental theorem of arithmetic says. Fine. Chalo, start. Determine the prime factorization of each of the following positive integers. 1, 2, 3 questions are there. First term. So basically, you have to give me as a product of primes. 20570.
So in this we only have to give the prime numbers, nothing else.
Yes. Basically, prime factorize it. $20570. These things you have to be quite fast in. Anybody?
It is 2 into 5 into 257 for the first one.
20570, 2 into 5 into 11 square into 17.
Yeah, ma'am, I got it.
Yeah, 2 into 5 into 11 square into 17. We have to have all prime numbers there, okay? Go to the next one, 58500.
Ma'am, it is 2 into 5 into first one. Can you repeat the prime factor?
2 into 5 into 11 square into 17. I've displayed it on the screen, the answers. Similarly, for 58500, it is 2 square into 3 square into 5 cube into 13. And finally, the last one, 7 square into 13 square into 17 square into 19.
Yes, ma'am, I got it.
I'm waiting. Be careful with the division of 13, 17 and 19. Many people have a problem in that. See that you memorize the table properly. Or whatever it is. Because 13, 17 and 19 are prime numbers, which many, the tables of which many of you might have forgotten. Shall I proceed? Still working on that? Is Amogha there today? Amogha?
Ma'am, 58500 is 2 square plus
2 square into. Who is that?
Mom, done.
Done all three?
Yes, ma'am.
Chalo, moving ahead now. Now, these type of questions. Check whether 6 to the power of n can end with the digit 0 for any natural number n or not. Now, this type of things, you need not show me at all steps. You might get questions of any other form. But then you should know the logic. That is, for any number to end with 0, that means it will be divisible by 10. We have done these sums. These are all there in your textbook. So it should end with 0. 10 should be divisible by 10. For any number to be divisible by 10, should be divisible by 5 and 2. Both 5 and 2. That means you break down the number. If it is 6 to the power of n, 6 can be written as 2 into 3. So find the prime factors of the given number. So 2 into 3, that means it will not work. So it will not, none of any form of 6 to the power of n cannot have the last digit as 0. If it would have only 2 and 5 as its prime factors, only, remember only, then you could have said that yes, that numbers, somewhere that it will have a digit 0 at the last digit. So this is not. Try to understand the logic. Similarly, 8. Suppose I ask, check whether 8 to the power of n. Now 8, what are the prime factors of 8?
2 and
2 and 4.
2q. All 2's are there, right? If all 2's are there, but then no 5 is there. To get the last digit as 0, it is compulsory that we should have both 5 and 9 contained as a factor there. So if only 2 is there, still then you will have the answer as no. If only 5 is there, okay with it, but not always. So it is also not possible. Always you should see that both 2 and 5 should be factors together of the given number. Okay, write in short, everybody. Finish this off in short. So as soon as whatever sum is given to you, suppose it is given 214, 275, 300, check it out. Check the prime factors. Okay, 2 is also there, 5 is also there, fine. Then it will have some digit, some number where the last digit is 0. You're done.
Can we determine how many?
No, how many we cannot at this stage. You have to get the value of n for that.
Okay.
Shall I proceed?
yes.
Do this. Given HCF is 9, find the LCM. This should be faster. What is the formula that you will be using? Number 1 into number 2 is equal to HCF into LCM.
LCM.
Yes, so LCM is equal to number 1 into number 2 upon HCF, which is 9. So 306 into 657 upon 9, faster. These sums should not take a lot of time. Children, a bit faster.
It is 17338.
Yes,
22338.
22338.
It is 22338. Take down the answer. I'm moving on to the next sum. Because I think a lot has to be done with rational numbers also, and time is not there. 22338. The next one. HCF and LCM. LCM is 180, HCF is 6. One number is 30. What is the other number? Faster. So number 2 is equal to 180 into 6 upon 30. Take a click of the question if you are not able to write, so because now I'll go fast. Hardly a few minutes left.
136.
36 is the answer. Perfect. I'm requesting all those who are not able to move that fast to at least take clicks and revise it on your own afterwards. Moving ahead to the next one. Find the smallest number, which when increased by 17 is exactly divisible by both 520 and 468. A bit different type of a sum. Smallest number, which when increased by 17 is exactly divisible by both 520 and 468.
Ma'am, again in this we have to subtract 17, right, from both the numbers?
No, this is different. Check it out. It has to be increased by 17.
Ma'am, we'll have to subtract 17 by the
At the end. Find the LCM of both of it. Find the LCM of 520 and 468. That is 4680. And finally subtract 17 to get the answer as 46631. Take a screen print or something. I need to move further. Shall I proceed? Going ahead to revisiting irrational numbers. Irrational numbers, very first thing that should come in your mind is cannot be written in the form of P by Q. And the other thing they are square roots of non-square numbers. Another thing which should be there in your mind is their division gives you what? Non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So these things should be there in your mind because there might be questions where certain numbers would be given to you and you have to detect whether it is a rational number or an irrational number, looking at it just by the look of it. So first thing is they might not be in the form of P by Q. Next thing is they might not be square of whole number, square numbers. And the last thing is they might be non-terminating but non-repeating decimals. What about rational numbers? Very simple. The other one, what I have said should not be, here it should be. So it has to be in the form of P by Q. And then the decimal expansion. Decimal expansion means you will find division and divide it and you will see is either it will be terminating or it will be non-terminating but repeating. This is the difference. It will be non-terminating, continuously it will be on, but repeating. Another thing that we always need to keep in mind is whenever we are talking about rational numbers, in rational numbers whose decimal expansion has to terminate, understood, whose decimal expansion has to terminate should have the value of the denominator in the form of 2 to the power of n multiplied by 5 to the power of m, where m and n can be 0 also. Same way theorem number 1.6 says the other way around. If in P by Q, Q is in the form of 2 to the power of m into 5 to the power of m, then it has got decimal expansion which terminates. This is a very important concept which should be in your mind. Whereas when we are talking about P by Q, where Q cannot be written in the form of 2 to the power of n into 5 to the power of n, that means the decimal expansion will be non-terminating but repeating or recurring because it is a rational number. Clear? So if check Q, you only need to check Q in such cases. If it's a rational number, if Q is in the form of 2 to the power of n, 5 to the power of m, that means it is terminating, over and out. Next thing is, if Q is not of the form of 2 to the power of n multiplied by 5 to the power of m, that means it is non-terminating but repeating. That's it, over. Nothing else in the mind. So from the discussions that we had, we can conclude that decimal expansions of every rational number is either terminating or non-terminating but repeating. If it becomes non-terminating, non-repeating, it becomes irrational numbers. Now look at these questions. Without actually performing the long division, state whether the following rational numbers will have a terminating decimal expansion or a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. So as I said, what do we have to check in the first question? We need to check we have to find the prime factors of 8. What are the prime factors of 8? Come on, fast.
2 cube.
2 cube.
2
2 cube. So it is in the form of 2 to the power of m into 5 to the power of 0. So it's perfect.
Yes,
Perfect. So yes, it has got terminating decimal expansion. Okay with that? Next. Always see to it that the given, if these are all in mixed fractions, right? Now if these are in this thing, 125 upon 441, now put it into what? Simplest form. Check that they are co-primes. So check whether anything can be divided. So 125 divided by 441. 125 divided by 445 is already in the simplest form. Now find 441. How can you write 441?
3 square into 7.
3 square into 7 square.
3 square into 7 square. But I don't need 7 square. I don't need 3 square. I don't need anything to the power of 3 or 7. So what can I say? The given number is non-terminating repeating decimal. Here everywhere, no, that slash is not there. 125 divided by 441, that slash is missing. That's why I'm... Okay. Moving to the third sum. It is 35 upon 50. Now reduce it first. 35 upon 50 can be cancelled out by 5. So what is the lowest term?
7
by 10.
7 by 10. Okay with that? Now check out.
Yes, ma'am.
For 10.
2
How will you
into
write
5.
10? It can be written as 2 into 5. That is 2 to the power of 1 into 5 to the power of 1. Perfect. So the given number has terminating decimal expansion. Are you clear with the facts, what I'm saying? All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to understand? Now going to the last one. Second last one. 77 upon 210.
I'm not possible.
77 upon 210. First, bring it to the simplest form. Simplest form is 11 upon
11 by
30.
30.
Don't do before that. First, bring it to the simplest form. That is, there are no coprimes. Simplest. Now, it cannot be divided further. So, 11 upon 30. Now, 30 can be written as 2 into 3
2
into
into
5.
3 into 5.
I don't need this 3 here. I don't need it. So, that means it is not in the form of 2 and 5. So, the given number has non-terminating, repeating decimal expansion. Okay with that? Check the
Yes,
fifth
ma'am.
part. Check the fifth part. Where already the denominator is given to you in the form of indices. We can see that there's 17 there. I mean 7 there. I don't need that 7. So what can I say?
Non-terminating.
Non-terminating but repeating decimal expansion. Was that clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure? Now, let's check
Yes,
this out.
ma'am.
Perfect. Now check this out. 3 upon 8, 13 upon 125, 7 upon 80, and 14588 upon 625. Check this out. 3 upon 8. Already in the simplest form? Yes. Now 3 upon 8, what will you do? This 8, break it down into its prime factors. So it is 2 to the power of m into 5 to the power of n. So it can be written as 2 to the power of 3. M is 3 and n is 0. So the given number has terminating decimal expansion. The decimal expansion will terminate after 3 decimal places. You have to see the largest of these, 3 and 0. See the largest of the powers. Here the power is 3. Here the power is 0. So yes, it will terminate after 3 decimal places. If you divide 3 upon 8, you will get it 0. There would be 3 places of decimals and it will stop. Okay with that? So that's how we do these sums. That is, we'll
Yes, ma'am.
terminate after 3. Next, 13 upon 125. Now see, check, it's already in its simplest form. It cannot be divided further. Now that means we have to find the prime factors of 125. 125 is nothing but 5 cube. That means m is 0. So m is 0, n is 3. So again you can see 3 is greater than 0. So yes, the decimal expansion will terminate after 3 decimal places. Okay? Proceeding. I hope you have either copied this or have taken print screens or snapshots or whatever it is, and work on these on your own. Going ahead to 7 upon 70. 7 upon 70 cannot be reduced further. We know that. So now break down 80. 80 broken down gives you 2 to the power of 4 multiplied by 5. So we have m as 4 and n as 1. 4 is greater than 1. So the decimal expansion will terminate after 4 decimal places. Are you able to catch it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfectly fine. Moving on to the fourth one. First check the simplification. It should not be further divisible. Should come to the simplest form. So it's already in the simplest form. So moving ahead, we have 625 as 5 to the power of 4. So we have n as 4, m as 0. So yes, the decimal expansion will terminate after 4 decimal places. This is an easy one. So just fast, let's wind it up. Were all of you clear with these type of questions, children? All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
After how much decimal places will it terminate? Will it terminate or not without doing, just checking it out? Was everybody clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfectly fine.
Yes.
Find the LCM and HCF by applying prime factorization method. It's up to you how you do it. So 84, 90 and 120. Next one is 24, 15 and 36. That is the last sum for today. So wind it up faster. I'll give you just 2 minutes of time. It's already time. The next teacher should. You know what? I have to end it now because it's already 10:37, children. Okay, it's already 10:37 and the next teacher should be coming in by 10:40. So take down this question. Take it down, do it on your own. Fine. And the answers are, for the first one, the answer is LCM is 2520, HCF is 6. For the second one, LCM is 360,